your friendly neighborhood quarter guy here, and this year, which began with August 16th, is the 25th anniversary of the Neo Geo. And to celebrate, the Humble Bundle released a huge bundle of Neo Geo games for the traditional pay-what-you-want model. I think it's a fun way to celebrate the history of such a storied line of arcade and console games. And I think today I want to talk about some of my favorite memories with the Neo Geo. I guess it goes back to a family cruise that my family went on back when I was a kid. In the arcade on that cruise ship, there were a few games that used this Neo Geo hardware. Games like Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury 2, Art of Fighting. I guess that's what first got me interested in the Neo Geo games. Several of them were ported to the Super Nintendo over the years and to other systems as well. But the Neo Geo arcade platform was what introduced me to some of my favorite franchises like the King of Fighters and Metal Slug and Bust-A-Move, games like that. It's what makes the King of... It's like... Were it not for the Neo Geo, I wouldn't have been introduced to the King of Fighters, which is now one of my favorite fighting game series. By the way, latest King of Fighters 14 trailer is looking better than the original. Definitely looks a little better. Definitely shows improvement. But... yeah, some of my favorite games include the Metal Slug series, which is basically what you get if you made Contra more cartoony and added tanks. Heavy machine gun, rocket launcher. Yeah, those games are fun. And the King of Fighters introduced me to some of my favorite characters, including Kyoku Tsunagi, Yori Agami, and others. Yeah, there were also some great 2D shooters on there and some fun puzzle games there, like Bust-A-Move. Bust-A-Move series is one of my favorite puzzle game series of all time now. So I guess I have a lot to thank Neo Geo for. Of course, all my Neo Geo experience came in the arcade. It's like, I don't know a single person who actually owned a Neo Geo console, considering how expensive it was, and the absolutely humongous cartridges that came with it. You know, I think before next August, I might actually make a top 10 Neo Geo games list of my favorite Neo Geo games. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Now, for my stream on Sunday, to raise money for Paris, I'm going to be streaming some Neo Geo games for you. I've got stuff like Metal Slug, Garo, Mark of the Wolves, King of Fighters, stuff like that. Again, it's on my Twitch channel, links in the description below, starting at 7 p.m. Arizona time on December 13th. That is, say, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. As always, any donations received will go to the French Red Cross to raise money for the victims of the Paris attacks. And for my question of the week, I'd like to ask you, do you have a favorite Neo Geo game? As always, leave your answers in the comments below. I'll pick my favorite answers and feature them in next week's episode. Here are last week's winners. And with that, time for the Fourth Wall Mailbag. As always, send me your questions via YouTube messages. Go to my channel, click the About tab, click the Send Message button, and send me your questions. I'll pick my favorites and answer them in next week's episode. First question today comes from Matthew Strittmatter, who asks, what is your favorite Christmas special, besides Rudolph, Frosty, Charlie Brown, the Grinch, etc.? I would have to say Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. That was always a staple of my family's holiday viewing routine. And if you've ever seen it, is it really any surprise? I mean, the music's fun, the animation is classic, and Mr. Magoo adds that little bit of touch to it. It's a fun holiday film to watch. I would recommend it. Others include White Christmas, but that was more of a New Year's thing that my family used to do. Sometimes I wish I was living back in the Midwest, like where I grew up. Anyways, next question comes from Bumblebee Life 35, who asks, are you a big Transformers fan? No, not really. I've seen some of the cartoons, but I've never seen any of the movies, and I never really got into it that much. I'm not a hater, I'm just indifferent. That's just my thing. Next question comes from King Knuckles, who asks, just been curious, what is your favorite reality TV show? I don't really watch that much TV nowadays, let alone reality TV, but personally, my favorite reality TV show that I used to watch was The Mole. I mean, it's sort of like a reality take on James Bond. Basically, a group of people were brought together to complete a series of challenges to earn money for a group pot that only one of them would win. However, one of them was working against the team secretly. Every so often, the team members would take a quiz on who they believed to be the mole, and whoever got the least amount of questions right was eliminated from the game. It was really exciting to watch, and it was interesting to try and see if you could figure out who the mole was. I missed that show. It would be nice to see it brought back, to be honest. Next question comes from Elise Arainai, who asks, have you played Honey Pop yet? No, I have not. Again, this is a case of indifference, but despite the fact me being a fan of puzzle games, I've really never been that much for dating simulators. I've been indifferent to those, to be honest. That to be said, I'm not going to really say anything bad about the game. I'm not going to hate on it, but just hasn't been something that's really been on my radar that much. But to each their own, I guess. Final question from Dust the Epic Hedgehog, who asks, what are some upcoming video games being released in 2016 that you are looking forward to? I can't say those yet.